Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa Atchison. I'm part of the organizing committee. Happy to have you all here right now for the student video sessions. They're always fun and informing. And so just a couple of things. I'm going to introduce you to all three of the students. And if attendees have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section of the down at the bottom of your screen. So you are not using any chat. The chat has been disabled. Please use the Q&A section. So first we'll have Brianna Semenko's video. We also have Chamali Kandikara, and we have Nancy Deepkar. And I'll let Ron take it away with the videos. They will play in sequential order, and then we'll have time for questions with the students.
Changing climate, rising food prices, limited access to fresh foods like fruits and vegetables, and rising incidence of diet-related disease in northern Manitoba has highlighted the need for enhanced local fresh food production. I'm Brianna Semenko, a master's student at the University of Manitoba, and I'm working to see how controlled growing environments like vertical farms can be used to address these challenging food, nutrition, and healthcare needs. Vertical farms allow fresh foods to be grown year-round and require minimal water, soil, and fertilizer, often requiring no pesticides, eliminating some of the potential safety issues communities would face with local fresh food production. Additionally, smart technology can be integrated into these farming systems, providing the additional benefit of real-time monitoring to control and optimize growing conditions to the individualized needs of each plant, resulting in high-quality, nutrient-dense produce. For my master's project, I'm working closely with Opaskwayak Cree Nation, or OCN, located on Treaty 5 territory in northern Manitoba near the Pas, to help address the high rate of type 2 diabetes in the community through the production of bioactive enriched functional vegetables using the community smart vertical farm. Alongside the anticipated health benefits, this work will also help improve the marketability, profitability, and reach of OCN grown produce, with the goal to have OCN produce available in local grocery stores and neighboring communities. There's also several benefits for Canadian agriculture, including optimizing the use of northern land for agriculture that's otherwise unfertile, and getting kids in the north excited about agriculture. The OCN Smart Farm team has already trained students in surrounding communities on smart farm operation, and the research team here at the University of Manitoba has already been approached by a Northern School Division to help with curriculum development surrounding vertical farming and local food production in the north. This work will also help facilitate the weaving of Western and Indigenous knowledge into Canadian agriculture. It's been really interesting for me to learn how traditional planting and harvesting practices based off of moon cycles have been integrated into the operation of OCN Smart Vertical Farm. There's a lot to learn from each other to improve the health and agriculture sectors in the north. In conclusion, this work will help support a more equitable and sustainable fresh food production system in northern Manitoba, and will be a great addition to the agriculture sector in other parts of Manitoba and Canada. Thank you.
As we all know, prairie berries are becoming increasingly popular due to their delicious taste and high nutritional value. However, there is still much to be learned about the bioactive compounds present in these berries and the potential health benefits that they offer. That's where metabolomic assisted investigations comes in. These techniques allow us to analyze the metabolomic pathways of prairie berries, identifying and quantifying various compounds that contribute to their unique properties. By understanding these pathways, we can identify which compounds are responsible for the health benefits of humans, and they can be used in sustainable agriculture. For example, some of these compounds may have anti-inflammatory or anti-cancer properties, making them potentially useful in developing new drugs or supplements. In addition, understanding the metabolomic pathways of prairie berries can also help us optimize their cultivation and improve crop yields. By selecting the best varieties and growing conditions, we can produce berries with higher concentrations of these bioactive compounds, providing even greater health benefits to consumers. Phenolic compounds are natural compounds found in plants, and also they are known to possess various biological activities, as I mentioned before, such as antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer properties. Berries are a rich source of these compounds, making their analysis of significant interest. However, the analysis of phenolic compounds in berries is challenging due to their structural complexity, low concentration, and diversity. The development of this new liquid chromatographic high-resolution mass spectrometry method has significant implications for the accurate and reliable analysis of phenolic compounds in berries, which could lead to a better understanding of their potential health benefits. Therefore, the development of new methods for the analysis of phenolic compounds in berries is critical for the accurate and reliable assessment of their bioactivity and the potential health benefits that they may offer. Overall, the metabolomic assisted investigation of prairie berries is an exciting and promising area of research that has the potential to make a significant impact on sustainable agriculture. By working together, we can continue to unlock the many benefits of these delicious and nutritious berries while also promoting a more sustainable and healthy food system. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Nancy Deep Kaur and I'm doing my masters in food science from University of Manitoba. So, we all know that wheat is one of the most common staple food consumed by human and is the second most cultivated crop worldwide. You guys might have heard that when there is a sudden change in temperature or rainfall before the harvesting of wheat, that wheat is generally considered as downgraded and not accepted by the industries. The reason behind is this that the rainfall triggers the breaking down of grain dormancy, which leads to some critical phenomena known as pre-harvest sprouted wheat and late maturity alpha amylase wheat. Both these conditions are characterized by high activity of alpha amylase, which hydrolyzes starch and eventually has a negative effect on end product characteristics such as sticky dough that is quite difficult to handle to make the different products. So, with pressing climate change events, these conditions are occurring more frequently, leading wheat undergoing penalties or discount and causing millions of economic losses for growers from Canada, US, China, Japan, Australia, England, and any other country. Hence, my objective is to understand how different level of alpha amylase affect grain morphology, thermal and viscous properties, as well as starch state, and to give added value to those downgraded alpha amylase affected flour to reduce food waste and to make Canadian agri-food system more sustainable. The starting material will be the wheat, which will be germinated under controlled condition of time, temperature, and relative humidity inside environmental chamber to obtain flour with different levels of alpha amylase. Then, by analyzing the techno-functional properties of the alpha amylases affected flour, properties such as pasting properties, total starch, damaged starch, alpha amylase content, a baked product will be developed. Thermomechanical features of dough will be assessed as well as their proofing performance. End product, macrostructure, texture, and color analysis will give us more information about the suitability of those downgraded flour in making alternative baked food products. For my research, one of the possible outcomes would be development of a rapid method for quantifying alpha amylase activities in wheat, because right now it's quite a lengthy procedure to analyze alpha amylase activities in wheat, as well as to develop different method to inactivate alpha amylase activities in flour to increase their food applications, and obviously to create a food product by using the downgraded alpha amylase flour, so to avoid food waste and economic losses. Therefore, as a food scientist, making wheat sustainable means improving strategies to increase their use and avoid losses as much as we can. Thanks for watching my video and thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Please post your questions in the Q&A. We have very eager people here ready to answer questions about their research. Please also remember to vote in the People's Choice for the student video sessions. That link will be posted in Zoom where you can vote. There will be a poll. So, so far we have a question. This is for Brianne. Do you think there is market potential for indigenous harvested or produced berries or any berry products?
Yeah, I'm trying to visualize what that would look like, but I know that OCN has already grown different fruits in their smart farm. In terms of berries, that's something that can still be harvested on the land. So the foods or produce that's been grown in the smart farm are foods that are not typically available or hard to come by in the community. So in short answer, yes, but I'm not 100% sure if that would be associated with this farming system in OCN or not. But interesting question combining mine and Molly's projects.
Thank you for that. No more questions just yet, so perhaps I will ask Nancy Deep, is there are there uses hi, are there uses for the flour that has the high amounts of alpha amylase that where it actually is desirable, or is it an undesirable trait to have in the flour?
Yeah, it's not a desirable, because if there is a more alpha amylase activity, that is going to degrade the starch, and that is not suitable for making the baking products like bread. That would be sticky. So this is not desirable, and we are getting more issues because of the environmental changes, like the rain, or that is affecting the wheat. So this is not a desirable.
There is a question here. It's a bit ambiguous. I think they may have pressed enter before they had their complete question. So Anna, if you want to retype your question, please do so. We have a question here for Brianne. Have you considered the cost of the systems you have described?
We are wanting to do a cost benefit analysis of it. So when I got introduced to the project, the farm had already been established. But we are wanting to make it a bit more of a profitable system in terms of expanding reach and sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yes, it's something that we are wanting to look into a bit further. The priority right now has been trying to optimize the system how it is. And then the next stage will be, how do we make this more profitable for the community? And what would this look like to expand to other communities? So we're proving the benefit first and then looking into what expanding would look like.
Excellent, thank you. Nancy Deep, is a change in the timing of our planting and harvest dates a potential solution to improving wheat quality?
I don't think so. It is a potential solution, because we don't know whether there's going to be rain or whether there's going to be like more cold. So I don't think so. That would be a potential solution. Otherwise, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Shamali, what is the availability of wild berries compared to native berries? Are they both available on the market?
Your mic might be off. You're unmuted, but I think your mic is off. No.
While you are hopefully figuring out your audio, maybe I'll just move on to another question and you can get some help with your audio, Shamali. Sorry about that. What is your view on vertical farming and reaching net zero targets? Brianne.
Sorry, I was reading a question when you were when you said the question, that particular question. Would you be able to repeat it?
Yes, I can. Sorry about that. What is your view on vertical farming and reaching net zero targets?
I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. Maybe I'll answer someone else's question at once because that's what I was reading while you were reading the question previously. But this vertical farm is currently in the community center within OCN. So it's using existing, like the vertical farming systems can be pretty much anywhere. So when I, in my video, brought up the fact about getting them into schools and having that discussed with like kids and like other communities, I do think that short answer is yes. I think there's a lot of potential for it. My mind starts wandering in terms of like how it would look in the north. But I know there's the potential for vertical farms to grow on like rooftops and urban centers as well. And just the benefits of local food production. You don't have the emissions of transporting food from, say, the States up to like northern Manitoba. That's a huge cost and environmental burden. So yes, I am having a hard time answering that concisely, but I think it's very promising and I'm very excited.
Thank you. Shamali, how is your audio? Are we able to hear you now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you are. Okay, so the question was about availability of wild versus tame cultivars, whether or not they're available on the market. There's also another one asking, have you found any properties that make any berries more desirable than others from a commercial perspective?
Yeah. The thing is, like wild berries, I haven't seen them available in the market, but they are available a lot in the wild, especially the Saskatoon berries. We have plenty of them, and also chalk cherries, but seems like people don't like to consume them. Maybe they are not aware about those berries. Chalk cherry especially, like because it has kind of tart-like flavor, but the berries available in the market, they are not wild, they are all like commercialized berries available in the market. And the other question are
sorry, I'm just going to find it again. Oh, do you have, is there a variety that seems to come to the top as far as being desirable from a commercial perspective? Does it have lots of applications or uses to be sold commercially? Oh, it looks as though you're frozen. Okay. I'll just move on, and if you're able to, if your internet help works back out, you can join us again. Sorry about that. Nancy Deep, what are the minimum alpha amylase levels tolerable for bread making flour?
Usually in simple terms, alpha amylase activity that is measured by the falling number. So if the falling number is less than 300 seconds, that flour is not desirable for making a bread. But we could improve. There is a potential we could improve by adding some alpha amylase inhibitor, or we can use some phenolic acid to inhibit their activity, so we can use the more flour. So the minimum is the 300 second is the minimum, desirable activity for the alpha amylase.
Okay, excellent. Brianna, along the lines of the cost effectiveness, are there any issues with heating and powering the gardens in the north? There's some research in geothermal heat or power that is looking into this potential application in northern communities.
So it's not your typical greenhouse where it gets quite hot or heated. the vertical farm, it is quite an energy efficient farming practice. So no, but I have heard of other types of farming systems that are looking into like using nuclear power to get away from traditional heating. But no, this isn't along the lines of a greenhouse. It's more, it's quite different. So it's not the same concern about generating heat that we have with those other indoor farms.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Shamali, are you back on? I'm so sorry you're having trouble with
I'm
your
really
internet.
sorry. Like, I don't know what's like happening here. The internet connection is like giving me some troubles.
Well, a lot of us live rurally and we understand the woes of rural internet infrastructure. So,
Sorry.
so you had some questions. There was a question on how could your research be applicable for any common berries or fruit available for consumption, and could that improve the knowledge about the nutritive value of fruit we are consuming?
Oh yeah, the method that I developed using liquid chromatography mass spectrometry, so it can analyze around 72 compounds within 20 minutes. So this method is not only for berries, that it can be applied for any type of food commodity or any other like vegetable or crop, because that method is like with the sample extraction itself, like they can extract almost all their phenolic compounds, I would say like around 70, which are present in that metabolomic pathway within 20 minutes. So it's not specifically for berry, but my aim was to like do the compound profiling of berries and to identify the quantities, just to get an idea about the availability of those bioactives in the prairie berries. But we can apply that method for any other fruit or any other crop.
Interesting. Thank you. Brianne, excuse me, Brianne, is the farming somehow connected with any animal production, like layer hens or broilers? It seems to be a good complement for poultry, perhaps.
Vertical farming is mostly produce. I have heard of like smart technology being used in more animal-based farms, but not with what we're currently working on in OCN.
Okay, thank you. Is there a possibility that other enzymes may be produced when alpha amylase levels increase? Is there any connection to other enzymes?
Oh yes, there are. There are like certain enzyme like the protease or glucooxidase. Protease is an enzyme that is degrade the protein quality. So that is also getting produced when the family's activity is getting increased. So there are more enzymes they are producing as well.
Thank you. Chamali, your study looked at many different species. And so if you were to recommend one or two that have excellent consumer, market, and health or environmental benefit potential, which would you highlight and why?
According to the berries that I analyzed, like I analyzed around 15 different types of wild berries and also different Saskatoon berry cultivars. When compared all of them, I cannot say like this is the one that you should eat, because each one has their own compounds. Like for an example, Saskatoon berry and Huskap berry, if I compare both of them, the profiles are more or less the same, but the most abundant compound, it's different. For an example, in Saskatoon berry, it's chlorogenic acid, and in Huskap berry, it's rutin. So both of them are really important for human health if I consider about the human health perspective. But I would say, like, if we can improve by basically having an idea about all the berries, I think like almost all the berry types has the potential. But on the other hand, like, we have to think about the taste as well if we want to like introduce it to the growers or the farmers. So in that way, I would say Saskatoon berry or Huskap berry, we have already a market for Huskap berry, but Saskatoon berries, we can definitely like work on that because it has a huge potential to treat as cardiovascular diseases, because there have been some clinical studies they have done on Saskatoon berries on the compound resveratrol, which is really helpful for cardiovascular health. So yeah, like my team, like supervisors, like they are working on them as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I enjoy Hascat berries, but in a gin that I really like. So I think that's negating all of the health properties. Brianne, could you elaborate perhaps just briefly on the how the lunar cycles were incorporated that you mentioned in your video?
Yeah, so I would say I'm still learning, but one thing that it's important for us to understand, like the Smart Farm team and us here at the U of M, is the awareness and perception of the smart farm within the community. And Indigenous farming practices, I'd say, are very holistic from my knowledge of them, very much centered within like the energy within the soil and the environment. So now that we're using a system that the produce only grows in water, it looks very different. It's been interesting to talk with the Smart Farm team and how they've been able to integrate traditional practices into how they still operate the farm, and kind of talking with community members about that when they're promoting the farm itself. So what I mentioned in the video was mostly related to like the time of planting. So when at a certain point during the moon cycle is when they do their planting within the farm. Harvesting is a bit different just because the vertical farming or the smart vertical farming growing duration is accelerated compared to being outside, but still trying to keep with some of the same cycles that traditional planting would occur outside in the vertical farm in OCN.
Excellent, thank you. Nancy, does your research have any implication to wheat under storage?
I'm not working on like the wheat under the storage, like, but if that wheat is already affected by some rain or some cold climate changes, then definitely with storage that wheat gonna more deteriorate, because alpha amylase activity that is going to increase day by day. So if we kept that wheat under storage, so obviously that wheat not gonna use, that would be ruined. So we can't use that wheat at all if we are going to store that wheat.
Brianne, can I just ask a question? There is a question here pertaining to energy. So what energy source is being used for the smart farm vertical farming? And is there research on the carbon impacts of what type of energy is being used to power these facilities?
Yeah, so I wish I'd be able to do a better job of answering this question, because I've gotten it quite a few times from different people that are also passionate about farming in the north. They're like, oh, I heard about a farm that operates through like this power source, or like I heard about a community doing this. The benefit of vertical farming is that you could just put it anywhere. So it's just within the community center in OCN, and using the like resources within the community center. It's not its own facility. It isn't requiring like the additional fossil fuels that would take to heat a traditional greenhouse. Again, I feel like this is, yeah, a discussion I've had a few times. And it's an interesting one to have. And I would like to learn more about like, yeah, the cost benefit analysis of it. But I think when it comes down to it, we need to think about local food production and being able to like keep the money in the community and think about how far our food has to come and all the different emissions that come from transporting food when we're thinking about this. But so I'm not 100% sure if I answered that question. I feel like every time I've been asked it, we kind of have a discussion and it kind of goes in different ways, but I'm very passionate about local food production. And I think at the end of the day, like, yes, that is where we're moving in terms of getting towards that net zero target, is eliminating some of the unnecessary transportation.
Thank you. Nancy, what about differences between winter wheat and spring wheat? Are there different levels found in winter wheat? Is it something to take into consideration?
I didn't know about this yet because I'm still getting the sample from different locations. So that's an interesting question to know. So I'm still working on it. So I didn't know, like probably I guess winter wheat could have a more amylase level than rather than the spring wheat. But I'm still not sure about that because I'm still, getting the sample from different locations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Did you find in terms of your berry study, Chamali, did you find any compounds in any of the berry types that had negative health impacts or were perhaps anti-nutritive?
It's like so far I have done the analysis of phenolic compounds. I'd say like most of the phenolic compounds has positive effect for the human health, but I am currently working on saponins, which could have some anti-nutritive factors in berries. So that's the ongoing studies as the second part of my study, where I'm going to like identify saponins in the berries. In the phenolic compounds, I don't say that there are anti-nutritive compounds because most of the phenolic compounds that I identified, they are like mostly related to the positive side for the human health. But I'm doing the saponin analysis now, so I can give some answers later on after doing the saponin analysis, that I will be able to identify like anti-nutritive factors in those types of berries.
Okay, sort of in that same vein then, whether or not it's a beneficial or anti-nutritive compound for a specific berry or a specific cultivar, is there a variation with that compound or is it relatively consistent, within that berry?
Sorry, I didn't.
Okay, so for compounds that are mostly found in one specific berry type, if there's a specific compound found in them, is there variation within that compound, like 10% to 30%, or, for example?
Yeah, like if I talk about one individual compound, there was a variation because when I did all the profiling, when I took the percentage, so there were like some variation around 20%, sometimes it's 50%, especially about the anthocyanins, because like if I consider about 15 different types of berries, most of them are purple in color, which means that they have more anthocyanins. But if I consider about gooseberries and other berry types, since they don't have any specific color on it like purple, so the anthocyanin profiles, they can be very maybe for 50 to 60%. So it depends on the compound, but the most abundant in almost all the berry types, the phenolic compound was chlorogenic acid, and routine mostly like hydroxycinnamic acids, which are like really helpful for human health. But other than that, anthocyanins is the most variated compound compared to the other berries.
Interesting. Thank you for that. Questions are starting to wind down. We have a few more minutes. We'll maybe wrap it up with this question, and this is for Brianne. Is there any type of waste or leaching that comes out of this production system that can be recycled or reused within the system or in another way?
The water that the plants grow in is mostly reused. So that's another one of the, not necessarily like energy efficient, but sustainable aspects of the smart vertical farming system. And I was just thinking about how I maybe could have answered someone else's question a bit better, but the plants in the vertical farm, they grow under LED lights. So, and because of the real-time monitoring, it's really only needing the amount of light that each plant needs. Like there isn't excess that's unnecessary. So I think also as technology continues to advance, I think we're moving towards a more energy efficient system. And that's why this is exciting as well. It's that we're able to grow food in the community and eliminate excess, like refine our traditional greenhouses that we've been using for the past many years. But yes, in terms of waste materials, it's the water that is a huge benefit within the system.
Absolutely. I think just in the interest of time, I'm going to wrap up questions. I also want to mention there was many comments in the section saying how proud they are of all of you and that they were very well done. So thank you for those kind comments from all the participants. Just some housekeeping. The student voting option in Zoom is going to be posted. So if you would like to vote for your People's Choice Award for the student videos, that will be posted, and that voting will close at 2:45. So please do that as soon as you can. The winner will be announced at the end of the day today. Oh, there it is. If you want to vote for the People's Choice, please do so. The next session with Tim McAllister and speakers Majid Irvani, Ian Cook, and Kyle Bobbywash will start at 1:45. We have had a last-minute replacement, and Sarah Prague won't be able to join us today. The barley sandwich session, ever popular, will begin at 4 p.m. So that's going to be immediately after closing remarks and the announcement of the student video competition winners. I want to thank all of you for participating today and submitting your videos. Great job. And lastly, CCA CEU credit QR codes are posted on screen at the end of all of the day. And if you're unable to find that or you don't have time and you forget about it, please know that the planning committee will be sending out the QR codes in an email after the sessions are all closed. So thank you very much for your time, students. That was a wonderful job. Anybody on the committee, please ensure that you're sending your scoring rubrics immediately as they need to be tabulated. And thank you everyone for joining. We will start the next session at 1:45. Thank you.